Oh, where's the mic? So you're going off the computer? Whoa, don't whip it out, man. That sounds wrong.
All right, folks.
Thank you. I thought I replaced that thing.
It's still some blue stuff. Oh yeah, it's worn off.
Okay, so is it now using the right mic?
Yep, I just clicked the button, so it should be good.
Okay. You're sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take off the mask so that the deaf community can see my lips because I can't sign fast enough. So we're going to go over this week's books. It was a weird week for comics. Yogi, can you take these? What news do we have? Do we have any comic news?
Not that I can think of.
I tried to give that new Avengers game a second go, and it's still horrible. It's horrible. And my battle buddy, Chocho Camacho, was playing that and messaging me every glitch he found, which was several glitches. Real problems with the game. That game sucks. Any other comic news you can think of?
Not so much.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sorry, guys. Can't think of any comic news. We will get into this week's comics. I will say it was maybe the best week in comics this year. Oh my God! There's so many good titles out right now. It's just absolutely insane. So we're gonna go over the titles right now. Oh man, are you guys in for a treat this week? We're gonna open with probably the hardest hitter. Maybe. I don't think it's my pull of the week, but it's close. That, of course, is the Immortal Hulk, and I'm going to show you. Here's the Immortal Hulk cover. All these covers are always amazing, but the Alex Ross Timeless cover is something to behold. And my God, look at that cover. It's my God. So let's talk about the Immortal Hulk real fast. We know that Ewing is playing fast and loose with the mythos, and he's been changing the mythos quite a bit. It opens with a character named Del Fry. If you don't know Del Fry, I would not be surprised. He's not a particularly well-known character in the Hulk mythos. I mean, you kind of know him, but kind of not. But they've sort of retconned his origin because I was under the assumption that Del Fry was... He had like a blood disease, and his employer gave him a gamma injection, which turned him into a gamma, sort of a Hulk. But the way Ewing opens this story is with Del Fry getting the injection from his father, which is totally. I need a drink. Can you grab me a one of the Starbucks things, if you don't mind, if it's not too much trouble. Oh, my own drink. Oh, thanks, dude. I got a frog in my throat. So that's different. But we know that Ewing does change the mythos quite a bit, and that's kind of a minor change for a character that I don't really know all that well. We did know that the leader was in play. Whether or not the leader was controlling the game with the one above all, one below all, we weren't entirely sure. This does answer a lot of those questions in a very, very comical way. And the way this plays out is almost Shakespearean. I loved this issue. This issue was outstanding. The action is amazing. It's the Immortal Hulk we want. And again, that last page, every time you turn to the last page of the Immortal Hulk, it's just mind-boggling. It really is the best horror comic I've ever read. It's wild to say that, but it's true. And if you want that Alex Ross Timeless cover, we have one. We have one because I'm taking the other one. So we have one. So if you want that sucker, you got to get in here quick. Next is Ewing, Manilow, David, Delius, Mignola, and Kubert. My God, there's a lot of people on this book. And it makes sense. This is the Immortal Hulk 0. And this is giving us more backstory on Bruce and his family. But the way it's told is they do flashbacks through older art styles mixed with the new style as well, which is telling the story. And it works surprisingly well. Really, really well. On top of that, I'd say this is almost required reading as an Immortal Hulk fan because this explains the One Below All. It explains Bruce's father being tied to it. It explains everything, like quite a bit, more than the regular Immortal Hulk. So you kind of have to go get this book. So if you're an Immortal Hulk fan and you've been on this run from the beginning, or you just love Ewing, you need to read this book. This is kind of required reading. So we'll have that as well. Next is, I think this is my pull of the week. I'm relatively certain this is my pull of the week, although, I mean, it's kind of neck and neck with Thor and Immortal Hulk. And that is Iron Man #1. This is Cantwell, Cafu, and D'Armata. This was just awesome. Poor old Iron Man, he's having a midlife crisis. And what do you do when you have a midlife crisis as a rich guy, right? You go out and you buy a car. But you're a rich guy, so you can buy whatever car you want. So he buys a less than stellar car, and he puts together a less than stellar suit because he's trying to get back to his old roots. So it's kind of funny. Seeing Iron Man quit Twitter because of trolls is everything I dreamed it would be. On top of that, we have Hellcat in there, and Hellcat is a character that is not tapped enough, but is ridiculously funny when she is. So I'm glad that they've thrown her into this. And I'm honestly, this is a really, really good read. It's Iron Man's basically trying to put the iron back in man, is what he says. He's trying to find himself, and he's everything's changing. And honestly, it was just amazing. Now, of course, this cover is this an Alex Ross cover? It sure looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah. It's an amazing cover. But what I will say is I laughed 3, maybe 4 times in this issue, which Thor, again, I did laugh like 3, maybe 4 times in this issue, so neck and neck. But it was outstanding. This is absurdly cool. This is everything I wanted in an Iron Man comic, and frankly, it's everything I want in a comic. No complaints whatsoever. And I swear to God, if this doesn't revitalize the Iron Man comics being sold on the shelf, nothing will. Because this, as a comic fan, this is exactly what you want out of Iron Man. So yeah, come check this out. It's great. Next is Soil, Saez, and Prianto. This is Star Wars, and yes, Luke is wielding a yellow saber and a Sentinel saber, no less. And there's good reason for it. This of course takes place in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So it's the lost years and what is happening to Luke and what has he done and how has he gone to grow to become a Jedi and stuff like that. It's great. It's great. More importantly, there's a cover. There's a Christopher Nolan. What do they call those? The Christopher Nolan action figure covers. Oh yeah. There's one that has Luke with the yellow Sentinel saber that looks so good. And my man Josh Cardona got it. And I think he's the only one in our store who got it. I'm so jealous because oh God, you need to check out that cover. It's amazing. But this story, really good. It does center around Luke trying to find a hidden Jedi temple. And, it also centers around Vader trying to find Luke. And, it's you know what to expect from Star Wars. The story was good. I wasn't bored. It was just nothing mind-blowing. The art is amazing. It's so good. I have such a good time with this new Star Wars run. So yeah, we'll have that. Come pick it up. Next is Donny Cates, Aaron Cooter, and Matt Wilson. And of course, we're talking about Thor. Gosh, what does a thunder god do? Where does he leave his hammer when he's trying to get to the bottom of something? Do you know where? Yogi?
No. What happened?
He leaves it in Oklahoma.
Oh.
Multiple times, actually. This is not the first time he's done it. He's left it there again, and he's going through some changes. He's kind of deciding that maybe his hammer's kind of outgrown him. Maybe not. He's got to test a theory. So he throws it to Oklahoma. Meanwhile, he trolls Tony Stark during that time, it's a pretty good laugh. On top of that, we do get some Beta Ray Bill, and the last time we fought Beta Ray Bill, he broke Stormbreaker. Yeah, so Beta Ray Bill needs a new weapon anyway. It's good. It's good. Is that the cover? This is the cover. God, is that an awesome cover? You gotta show.
Yellow lightsaber.
God, such a good cover. Okay. It kind of makes sense to me that whoever would rebuild the Jedi Order would wield the yellow lightsaber. You need the Sentinels, the librarians, to like pull all the data back, but whatever. Okay. Anyways, back to Thor. This Thor issue is amazing. I don't know why. I thought Donny Cates doing Thor was like a mini series and not like a full blown ongoing. Apparently, I was wrong. I thought it was going to end after 6, and I'm so glad I was wrong because this is amazing. This is awesome. It has Thor using Hugin and Mugen, who are the All-Father's crows, to send messages, and people are like, you could get one of those square things that has games on it and stuff. Like, why don't you do that? Donny Cates has just the ability to make me laugh 3 or 4 times every issue, while also kind of blowing my mind. And that's what you get in this issue. This Thor stuff, I remember saying last year that the Immortal Hulk was the best thing on the shelves, and it's still one of the best things on the shelf, but Donny Cates has really proven that his Thor can stand right there with Immortal Hulk, because it's so good. And we just don't have enough of it. So if you really, really want to get a good comic this week, this is the one to grab. Well, there's a couple more that are still pretty darn amazing. One is Hickman, You, and Go, and that is X-Men. And this, of course, is building to the what is it? The Swords of X, the continuation of House of X. And forgive me, I don't know all of this. There's Arakko, which is the counter to Krakoa. So Krakoa is sort of led by, was founded by Apocalypse, I guess, originally. And his wife went off to a different dimension called Arakko and founded Arakko. I guess it's the counterbalance. And Apocalypse's grandson or great-grandson or something son has showed up in Krakoa and has sort of revealed that Apocalypse has got to step up his game. And that's all I'm going to reveal. It's kind of interesting. It has people discussing weaknesses. At the beginning, they're playing a game to find the weakness or the vulnerability. But really, the question is saying, like, does everyone have a vulnerability? And is it a vulnerability if you know it's a vulnerability? And there's a lot of deepness to this, but it's Hickman at its best. I had a really, really good time with it. I will say that the Arakko stuff is weird. Very, very, very weird. And I didn't know all this lore on Apocalypse, but again, I'm not the mutant expert that my buddy Corey Douglas is. I'm just floundering into this mutant stuff for not the first time, but enjoying it really for the first time. I was never a big mutant fanboy. Next is a book that kind of blew my mind. This is Ta-Nehisi Coates, Bob Quinn, and Matt Mila. And that, of course, is Captain America. And yes, that's Sharon Carter in the Iron Patriot. And, it's always a good issue to see the Iron Patriot doing something. And also, it's kind of cool to see Sharon Carter doing something. But we might get a complete change in what is happening with that character. And Cap's face at the end should be framed and put on our wall, I think, because it's kind of amazing. So this issue was awesome. The monologue's pretty good. It gets a little cheesy at one point with Yas Queen. I will say that. It does get a little cheesy at one point. But the monologue was really, really good, and the wind-up was kind of amazing. I haven't loved. I didn't love the Cap stuff, I think, last year with all the Captain Hydra references and stuff. But Coates has so pulled this out of the fire, and my God, it's amazing right now. This issue is a must-buy if you're a Cap fan. You absolutely have to get it. I really think you should get it and frame it and put it on your wall for the Iron Patriot being in play like that. Next is Spencer Vincentini and Delgado. This is The Amazing Spider-Man, the sins of Norman Osborn. And yeah, okay. It's centering around Centipede Guy. What's his name again? Do you remember?
God, no, that's the second time someone's asked me.
The Kindred. That name is kind of forgettable for me. I don't know why. The Kindred is at play. Big creepy centipede zombie big guy. He's at play. We also have just dropped by to say hi. Did you get my? Yes, I did, and we've got it bagged up, man. We'll get it to you. So he's in play, which is it's kind of cool. Sin Eater's at play, and Sin Eater is killing people and also kind of taking powers, is what it's alluding to. And we see some other people bite the bullet. Some other villains bite the bullet in this. So it's pretty good. It's kind of cool. But what is really awesome about this book is it has Madam Web, the new Madam Web, confronting all the other spider totem characters and telling them what needs to be done. And that reason alone is totally worth buying this book. It builds on the spider totem mythos. It's kind of deep. It gave me chills and made me think of the Straczynski Spider-Man run. So that alone is totally worth buying this book. I'm still not kind of on board with the Sin Eater stuff, but I'm getting there. I'm warming up to it. I will say that Norman Osborn does kind of steal the show in that book for a lot of reasons. You'll see what I mean. Next is the giant size X-Men Storm, and I'm going to show you the variant cover because this one is mine and you can't have it. It's the Jen Bartel because I really, really love everything Jen Bartel does. It's I've said it before. It's like a 90s rave in my eyes. It's amazing. And what do you get in this issue? Well, this picks up on the heels of the giant size Phantom X, where they went into what is the Phantom X realm? I can never remember. It's so weird. They went into that realm to basically, I guess, run a virus control on Storm. Storm's DNA is tainted with some kind of digital virus or something, and they've got to fix it. That's where it picks up. That's pretty much the storyline. And that's all she wrote. The art is good, but it's very surreal and weird. I did like a couple of the monologues, but I will tell you, if you're buying this for Storm, and Storm steals the show. That's to be expected. It's amazing. That part of it's outstanding. Is the writing good? It's okay, but I feel like I read this in Phantom X. It doesn't feel like anything different. You'll read it and you'll see what I mean. It's okay. It's okay. If you're an X-Men fan, you'll love it. If you're anyone else, don't jump in on the X-Men stuff right now with this book. Pick up a different book. While it's good, it's also a little confusing for as a jumping off point. So don't make this your jumping off point to the Hickman stuff. Even though is this Hickman? This isn't Hickman, is it? I can't remember who's writing that one. Next is Marvel Snapshots X-Men. This is Edidin, Riley, and O'Halloran. And really, you can tell from the cover, it centers on Cyclops. It's all about Cyclops and Reed Richards, oddly enough. And, it was kind of touching. The art's weird. I never know what to make on these Marvel Snapshots because, the cover art is mind-blowing. The inside art feels very dated. I don't know why. It's always that way. It feels like sort of like Neil Adams at times. But it's good. It's good. I had a good time with it. I do think you need to be a Cyclops fan to really enjoy this book. If you're not a Cyclops fan or you're not an Fantastic Four fan, you probably jump in somewhere else. But it's okay.
The giant size was written by Hickman.
It was written by Hickman?
Yeah.
Okay, don't jump in on the Hickman stuff with that giant size Storm. Jump in on something else and build towards that. Next is Vampirella Trial of the Soul. There's a billion Vampirella books on the shelf, like Red Sonja, Vampirella. Who else has a billion books on the shelf? Vampirella, Red Sonja. Not to be confused with Red Sonja Vampirella, which is a different comic, also on our shelf. And then Red Sonja, Vampirella, Betty, and Veronica. And then Sacred Six, which I think is probably the best of them. But, and there's a billion Vampirella books and a billion Red Sonja books. This one in particular is a one-shot. Trial of the Soul Vampirella. And oddly enough, this was one of the best. I had a good time with this book, which I have not said about a Vampirella book in a long time. It centers around, Vampirella's been sort of hooking up with a guy who may or may not have angel blood. And, kind of falls apart. but I had a good time with it. I was entertained. The art was great. The art was better than most of the normal Vampirella books. I had a good time with that. I laughed, chuckled a couple times. The story hooked me, and at the end it says "the end?" question mark. I hope that question mark is actually asking if we want more, because yes, I want more Vampirella Trial of the Soul stuff. I don't want any of that other stuff, but this I would read again. So give us more. Yeah, it was pretty good. Next is Ryan Parrott. I'm guessing that's Eugenia Bornyakov. Wancho. His name is Wancho. That's kind of a fun name to say. That's like the Sancho from Orgasmo. And Charles Pritchett. And we're talking about Dead Day by Aftershock Comics, which is, I don't usually get too excited about Aftershock Comics. They tend to be okay. As far as the indies go, I'll always sort of gravitate more towards Image. But this was awesome. And this whole series has been pretty awesome. It's about like, well, corporate America figured out how to bring people back from the dead, so they do. And then, you kind of have all these walking corpses roaming around with like, messed up facial features and stuff. So they cover their faces and they go about their extra lives, I guess. And this sort of picks up with one he's kind of got to settle the score of why he got killed and who killed him. And that's pretty fun. I'm having a good time with this. There's a couple mysteries that I want to know a bit more. The art is definitely on point. It's exactly the kind of grit and fun I want from a story like this. Honestly, the art is kind of amazing for Aftershock. You really knocked it out of the park. The story's really good. It's got me hooked. I can't think of any point in the story that was low. They ask a couple of questions. They throw a couple of moral questions in there, here and there, where you're like, I wonder if they mean something dark and sinister that's coming in this story. Maybe, but we'll have to wait and see. What is it? Dead Day issue number 3, still great. I like this at the beginning, and I'm liking this now. So come pick it up. Next is Boom Studios. Tom Taylor. Oh, Tom Taylor worked on this. Tom Taylor, Daniel Niculo. Guys, I'm not wearing a mask because I'm doing a live feed, and we have the deaf community who will read my lips as well. So if that's a problem for you, you're going to have to leave the store. So, you're welcome in, but I'm just letting you know. Okay. Tom Taylor, Daniel Niculo. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Walter Biamonte. And this is issue number 2 of the 7 Secrets. And, well, the art's really good. The story's kind of comical and feels very Power Ranger-esque at times. And there's a lot of tropes, like people coming from villages that have trained to fight and this and that. So it's okay. I have nothing to complain about here. It's just, it doesn't feel particularly original, but it is fun. So if that sounds like your jam, we've got it here. Issue number 2, 7 Secrets. I know there's a lot of people that seem to be really on board with this, and I still am not entirely sure what the hook is. But I will say, as far as comics go, this is pretty good. Next is Chip Zdarsky, Raymond K. Perez, and Mike Spicer, and this is Stillwater, issue number 1. That is the creepiest cover ever. This story's kind of weird. It sort of centers around a guy that gets fired and then gets invited to his town to by a summons. Like, I think it's a court summons of some kind, so he's got to go back to his hometown. And meanwhile, his hometown of Stillwater is, well, it feels very Deliverance. That's what I'm going to say. It does not have the happiest of openings, but it is gritty and dark and feels very much like Criminal, I guess, the Criminal series. The art's good. The story's good. I mean, it's Zdarsky. You know it's going to wind up being pretty good. I can't say I was bored with it, but you really have to like crime stories, I think. Maybe older style detective stories. That's what it feels like. AWA. So if you like that sort of thing, you might really like this. Next is You Look Like Death, Tales from the Umbrella Academy. This is Gerard Way, Sean Simon, Ian J. Coulbard, and Nate Picos. And if you can't tell from the cover, this is a book centering around Klaus. And of course it's good. It's awesome. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. I mean, of all the Umbrella Academy characters, I think Klaus, at least from the comics, Klaus should be your favorite. For the TV show, I would accept that number 5 is your favorite over Klaus, but probably not in the comics. Klaus is hands down the best, and the constant drug jokes are in here, so you know what to expect from the character. I laughed multiple times, had a good time with it, was not bored. But this is honestly peak Umbrella Academy stuff. So if you like the Umbrella Academy or you like the TV show, then come pick up this comic because this is exactly how it's supposed to feel. What's up, man? Next is issue 99 from the Joker War, Nightwing, the first Robin, the final ally. Oh man, this Joker War stuff is so good. Can we show the variant real fast? It's Tinian the Fourth, Jimenez and Mori. I don't know who did the variant. God, it's amazing. That's the new. It was his name Joker Killer.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can hear myself. It's shocking. I don't remember his name, but what I will say is that this looks like my battle buddy Lippy with a mohawk, and I every time I see that character, it makes me think of my old brother from the army. So I really like this new character, and I want to see more of him. But he's essentially just sort of a vigilante beating the crap out of Joker's henchmen on the streets. It's very punk. I love it. Meanwhile, he's not really in this issue all that much. This centers around 2 stories going at once. One, Batman is finally going to face the Joker. One last time is what it's looking like. Meanwhile, Harley is tagged along because Harley's going to kill him. And that doesn't fly with Batman, but Harley's sick of it and wants an ending to this story. So this is going in directions we've never seen before. Meanwhile, Catwoman is trying to pull a heist on the original designer's location. What is his name? The Underwriter? No, the Under something. But the guy who controls all of Gotham's crime lords' money. And she's teaming up with Edward Nygma and Penguin to go rob them. So that's cool. You have these 2 separate stories. The monologues in this issue are insane. Tinian the Fourth really falls into his stride when he does a Joker monologue, which he does at the beginning, and then does some Batman dialogue and Harley at the end. Honestly, it's so good. So good. Granted, I'm a giant Batman fanboy. You know that if you know me. So me telling you it's good, it's pretty good. I had a really good time with this issue. It's awesome. It's the road to 100. Come pick it up. You will not be disappointed by this issue. I think it's setting the stage for something else, a different Batman. So yeah, come pick this up. Next is Batman's Grave, the story that we have quite a few people who are into this, and I hadn't read it in a while. And it's essentially a Batman detective story, and it feels very old-timey at times. But it's good. It's good. The art's it's a little dated, but it feels right for the story. And the story itself is very sorry. I thought I had hiccups for a second there. The story itself is very it feels like a 70s Batman story, kind of. It's pretty good. I was not disappointed, but again, I hadn't read Batman's Grave in quite a few issues, so I was a little lost. Obviously, this is not a good jumping off point in a 12-issue miniseries, so go back a couple issues. But if you've been on board with this, I don't think you'll be too disappointed. There is some action, not enough, but that's always my take on some things. I'm kind of judgmental about action. I need a lot of action in my comics. Next is issue number 25, Joker War Collateral Damage. A man, a bird, and a cat walk into a bank. And if you can't tell, this is the continuation from that Catwoman, Edward Nygma, and Penguin story of them going to rob the Underbroker. That's his name, the Underbroker, which makes perfect sense for somebody who would bankroll the crime lords of God. The Underbroker. So that's what you're getting here, is you're getting the wrap-up for that tale, and it ends exactly how I thought it would end, which is not a bad thing. I wanted it to go that way. You'll see what I mean. I will say that this is almost required reading if you're reading the Batman stuff off the shelf. You're going to want to know what happens at the end of that story with these 3 characters. So, yeah, probably pick up Catwoman this week, too. Yeah, jump in. It's good. The art is good. This Catwoman run has been, honestly, awesome, and I haven't read enough of it. So, yeah, we've got that here. Plus, this cover is dope. Like, that is an awesome cover. Next is Teen Titans 45, and yeah, okay, the Titans are sort of reeling from the fact that Robin led them astray, and they're kind of mad at him, and they're trying to find themselves now as a team again, and it's good. It's good. It's not great, but it was okay. I had a pretty good time with it. The art was great. The art is always great, and the ending made me go, oh, like I wanted to like really know more. You'll see what I mean, but it's pretty good. If you're a Teen Titans fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. If you're anyone else, I don't think I would jump in here. I'd go back an issue, but it's still pretty good. Actually, I don't think I'd go back an issue. I'd go back to the annual. The annual is where Robin walks away from Robin, right? Yeah.
Yes, that was the
Yeah.
last
I'd go
one.
back to the annual. We've got copies here, I think. Next is issue number 10, Metal Men versus Dark Multiverse Metal Men. And if you look at the cover, that's exactly what happens in here. We're getting Dark Multiverse Metal Men. So, yeah, one of them is plutonium. That's probably the worst metal. But I haven't really enjoyed this Metal Men stuff. I think Rick Bretschneider was saying that he had really dug it. Rick Bretschneider from Fanboy Planet. It's okay. It's just not my jam. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I was not on board with Metal Men back in the day, so I just don't get it. But it's okay. I had an all right time. The art's really good, like really good. If you're an art snob, you would honestly love this art. The story just hasn't really hooked me yet. I'm not sure what it is, but I granted I've only read like 4 or 5 of these, so maybe I needed to be on for the whole ride. But it's okay. The Dark Multiverse Metal Men are exactly what you'd expect from that statement. That's all I'm gonna say. Next is Dark Knights Death Metal tie-in. The Justice League enter the Metalverse. Metal Snyder Metal. But this is written by Williamson, Zermanko, and Farlato Jr. And wow, Farlato Jr. was on this. And yet I had an all right time with this art. That's weird. That's weird because I normally am pretty critical of his art. Yeah, I had a good time with this story. It was pretty fun. It's Justice League. Granted, it's not Snyder's Justice League, so it still feels a little bit wanting to me. But it picks up in the Metalverse, and it centers around Nightwing and Detective Chimp, which is honestly a pretty good team. I actually wanted to see more Nightwing and Detective Chimp after that. That's a team I never thought that I would never think up. Yeah, it's pretty good, and they're sort of gravitating towards teaming up with someone they wouldn't normally team up with. Come on, you know who it is. You know who it is. Who's on the outs with Perpetua right now? You know who it is. Okay. So yeah, it's great. Justice League 53. It's great. I was not bored. I had a good time. I will say Williamson does a pretty good job filling in for Snyder, but I still want Snyder's Justice League back. That's all I'm going to say. But pretty good issue nonetheless. And then the last book of the week before we leave you is Batman Detective Comics number 1027. Why is this comic so big? Why is it a $10 trade paperback? Well, the reason is because this is 1,000 issues later from Batman's first appearance. So it's a pretty pivotal issue to get. You get a lot of stories. I mean, a lot. You think that the 80th anniversary was a lot of stories in there? Honestly, this dwarfs it. There is a ton of stories, a ton of art, a ton of writers, and I had a really, really, really good time with it. There are some touching moments, and it's definitely not just Batman in here. They do the whole Bat family thing, so there is a lot of those characters to be appreciated in this story. One thing I will say, we had the weirdest. Hey guys, I'm not wearing a mask because I'm doing a live feed, so I'm letting the deaf community read my lips. If that's a problem for you, we're gonna have to ask you to not come to the store. If you're okay with it, you're welcome to come in. So I'm sorry, just got to give you the disclaimer.
We're almost done here.
This issue in particular, this is the blank, and I don't know if you can see this, but like somebody stepped on this copy. Like there's a footprint on this copy, and the copy itself is ripped. So it's ripped and warped and stuff like that. This is the first time Lunar has sent us something damaged, so we were kind of tripping out about it because Diamond tends to be the one that sends all the damage stuff, but Lunar not so much. So yeah, this is I guess my issue. There is just a lot of goodness in this. You get a lot of the Robins. You get Spoiler and Drake. Or I think he's going back to Red Robin because Drake sucks. On top of that, you get Red Hood. You get pretty much all the Bat family and all the people that count in this story. It's touching. It's deep. There's a couple just fun stories in it, but more importantly, it's really thick. You are literally getting a trade paperback for $10, which is just it's awesome, honestly. And we've got plenty of copies, so come pick this up. Plus, if you're a collector, trust me, you're going to want some of these covers. Some of these covers are just mind-blowing. This is just the cover A. We've got some of the best artists that have ever worked on Detective Comics and on Batman doing covers, so we'll have extra copies of those too. It was maybe the best week of 2020 for comics, which is weird to say, but everything across the board was good. Not everything was great, but a surprisingly, like a giant number of them were great. Iron Man, Immortal Hulk, Thor, Detective Comics, Batman, all of them were just outstanding books. And even the ones that I said were like, they're okay. Okay by that standard means they're pretty good. So I really didn't have anything to complain about at all. Nothing. Even the Metal Man issue was like, I had an all right time with it. I'm not a huge Metal Man fan, but it was okay. So anything else, Yogi?
Nothing.
Nothing to report. I can't think of any news in the industry right now. Cam was messaging me that there are certain nullified covers. I think it's Black Widow. Who are the others?
Oh, God.
Black Widow, there's a Venom cover, and there's something else, but it's basically characters turned nullified, which is null. They look like null.
I did find something out. So Fortnite right now is running off this crazy Marvel thing, and there's all kinds of Marvel variant covers to them. Turns out Fortnite actually has a tie-in to what's going on with Thor right now. So
That's dumb.
jump in on it if you can.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not a Fortnite fan, and it shows. Yeah, we do have Fortnite variants that some people have coveted and ordered, and if that's your jam, cool. That's not my jam. You won't find Fortnite as one of the games cycled in on the Green Machine Comics Twitch live feed ever. Yeah, ever. Anyways, so that's our show for this week. I will probably do a live gaming stream later tonight, depending on how I feel. And that's it. We're good to go, right? Okay, I'll see you guys later. Twitch is off. Into YouTube right now. Give me 1 second. YouTube is now off. And ending Facebook.